You get your goddamn ugly ass.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's JMass. Look, I gotta be honest with you guys. I am not a photographer. I've never studied in any photography classes. I've never been a professional photographer. But if there's one thing I love doing, it's whenever I go traveling or urban exploring, is I love to take pictures of the interesting sights I'm seeing. Now, a lot of people ask me, what kind of equipment I use to film and take pictures and stuff. And I don't really use any fancy equipment. I literally just use an iPhone. In fact, I use an iPhone 11. And I do think the iPhone 11 has a pretty good camera quality. I'm pretty proud of most of the pictures I take. So, other than my YouTube channel, which you're watching right now, I also have an Instagram account, at JMassOfficial, by the way. Feel free to follow me there. And I really love to share with you guys a lot of the cool pictures I take from my iPhone on the Instagram account. But of course, those are the pictures I'm proud of and the pictures I really enjoy taking. I've been taking pictures for many, many years now, and I can't say that I'm proud of all of them. In fact, a lot of the early ones I took absolutely sucked. You see, here's the thing. I first got an iPhone all the way back in 2013. I was 14 years old at the time, and my very first iPhone, I believe, was an iPhone 4. And back then, the camera quality on iPhones was horrendous. A lot of the pictures I took back then, they're just very low resolution, low quality. And again, I was 14 years old. I was young. I didn't really understand the, proper way to take a photo. So a lot of the early photos I took, let's say like 2013 to 2016, were pretty bad. Low quality, low resolution, horrible picture taking skills. They're trash. And it's always funny going back to see them because it really is like night and day to what I'm doing today. Again, I'm not a photographer, I'm not professional or anything like that, but I am pretty proud of a lot of the pictures I take, and I think they're a far cry in terms of what I used to do. So I thought today we would do something a little more funny and, kind of humorous, and go back and look at a lot of the shitty pictures that I took as a kid and roast the shit out of them. It's something I love to just look at sometimes, and I thought I would take you guys with me and look at a lot of the horrible pictures I took. Now again, a lot of these were taken on an older version of an iPhone. I was a really young teenager, and it was me, so don't feel worried about me roasting them. I don't give a shit. It's just funny to look back at and make fun of. So in this video, we're going to be roasting my horrible old pictures that I took. A lot of these pictures are going to be like scenic pictures, pictures of cities, some urbex sites probably sprinkled in there. It's just going to be fun to go back and make fun of them and how horrible they were. So join me as we roast my old horrible pictures on the JMass YouTube channel. All right, guys, so I figured we'd start off and check out some pictures that I took during a trip to Philadelphia all the way back in 2014. So I would have been 15 years old at the time. And we're going to start off with this this glorious rhinoceros I took a picture of at the Philadelphia Zoo. You can see that the lighting on this thing is insane. It's almost like I was taking a picture directly at the sun with all that lighting exposure. I mean, Jesus. That's going to be a common theme we're going to be seeing. And of course, you got these two extremely blurry pelicans. That's another common theme. I was obsessed with taking blurry, zoomed in photographs, apparently, back in the day. And then you got these two, again, blurry tortoises, although I love the exposure on this one because it's like a fucking yin and yang symbol. You got the extremely lit up left side and the dark, shadowy right side. The lighting could not be worse. This one I absolutely love. Two emus I took a picture of. Again, it's almost like I'm staring directly into the sun at this picture with that insane lighting exposure. And then, of course, you got a ridiculously zoomed in okapi. It's almost like I zoomed in by 500% on this thing. To be fair, when you zoomed in on old iPhone cameras, the quality immediately deteriorated. It's not really the case anymore, but my God, it's like I'm looking back 20 years in the past with this kind of quality. I figured I'd throw in some other ones. This is actually from Independence Hall in Philadelphia, historic Independence Hall. Again, you got a horrendously blurry photo. This one is just insanely drab, and the framing is just poor on this one. Also very blurry. I feel like these wouldn't be too bad if they were a little better framed and, not so blurry. And then, of course, going to end it off with one of the most famous symbols of the United States, the Liberty Bell. I love how the back is like ridiculously bright. And then, of course, you have the dark, shadowy Liberty Bell, which, very nice contrast. You can barely even make out the inscription on the Liberty Bell with the massive flood of light behind it. Yeah, great lighting there, JMS. All right, so now I want to take a look at some pictures I took while on a trip to Niagara Falls all the way back in 2016. I want to start off with this picture, which I genuinely really like. It's probably my favorite picture I took on that trip. But let's contrast this with these absolutely abysmal pictures I took at nighttime. This one is the New York side of Niagara Falls at night, and it's just so bad. Oh my God. Again, this is 2016. iPhone camera quality was horrible, especially at nighttime. But this is just upsetting to look at. This one too. This is again Niagara Falls at night. I think they have like lights behind the falls or maybe spotlights pointing at the falls. It was lit up, but my camera just did not capture the magic because this thing looks fucking horrible. Same with this one. I'm sure with a modern day camera, this could look amazing. I've taken good nighttime pictures nowadays, but in 2016, this thing is just absolutely horrible. It's like an eyesore. This is the Ontario side at night. Again, the lighting, man. All of those lights just piercing the screen. It's like an eyesore to look at. And I want to end off with this one. I just find hilarious. This is that very strange structure on the Ontario side. And then you have a bunch of lights just poking out. It's like a party gone wrong. You know what I mean? Just, again, this is a perfect example of why nighttime pictures just sucked back in the day. All right, let's take a look at some pictures I took of the city of Worcester, Massachusetts in 2016. And I just love how these pictures make the city look so depressed and sad. Like it's such a bleak, cold winter day out. Like 1/3 of the picture is literally just pavement and road. And then I just have this narrow strip of textile mills. Just makes it look like a depressed former textile town. Just really sad. Same with this one right here. It's so drab and gray. Like a lot of that wasn't really my fault, but the framing of the picture is just so depressing and drab, like unintentionally. I always found these pictures pretty funny. Another one right here. I just love that. The rusty railroad bridge. Again, 1/3 of the photo is just road. It's just so bleak and drab and depressing. This one I love because I randomly decided to take a picture vertically, although 1/3 of the picture is still road, which takes up way too much of the space, adds to the bleakness and drabness. And I really think the dirty pile of snow just kind of complements it. So some of the most depressing photos I've ever taken really encapsulates Worcester in the mid 2010s. So speaking of bleak and depressing pictures of former textile cities in Massachusetts, now we got Fitchburg, Mass, also in 2016. And do I really need to say anything? I mean, the picture speaks for itself. This really encapsulates walking around a former depressed textile city in the dead of winter. You know what I mean? It's just an eyesore to look at. The framing is horrible. The bleak, cold grayness is just palpable. Not like I'm really a big fan of Fitchburg to begin with, but and then you got this one right here, also horrible. I don't know what my goal was with these pictures, to be honest. Like, clearly I was taking a picture of the railroad tracks, but it just looks so sad. This one I fucking love because I was obviously trying to take a picture of this train, but God forbid, I couldn't wait for the train to get a little closer. I had to take a, picture of the train far away with just random debris everywhere and dirty snow and just horrible framing, and it's vertical. That's just a sin to begin with, a vertical photo. This just has to be one of the most dog shit photos I've ever taken. I don't know what I was thinking. Let's just analyze this picture. First off, it's slanted for some reason. I took a slanted photo. I also took a photo of like 2/3 of a pickup truck blocking 1/3 of the entire photograph. Also, it's vertical. And I can't even tell like what I'm looking at. I think that's Fitchburg State University, but I don't even know why I would have taken a picture of that because it's not like, a visually interesting subject. And I'm a pretty easy person to please. I love cities and stuff, but I have no clue what my goal was here. And then I just love how the other third, the top third of the photo is just pure whiteness. You know what I mean? It's like it was a bleak winter day, and it's like I'm just looking into the core of a nebula. It's just this is just a shit picture all around. Oh my god. Now we're going to take a quick trip over to the Big Apple, New York City. These pictures are from 2017, so they're going to be the latest pictures that I've taken in this video. And of course, we got a very unusually phallic looking Flatiron building. This is just a shit picture because it's a nighttime picture. All the lights are just giving me an astigmatism. And the thing that sucks about this picture is that the Flatiron building is completely black, pitch black. None of the lights are on. But then you have all the street lights and cars and stuff, and the framing is so poor. So it just makes the subject matter of the picture look, it just like kind of melts into the picture. You can't even really see it. Horrible picture. This one is just hilarious to me. This is the iconic Statue of Liberty, which normally is a really beautiful, symbol of America. In this, it's just a really cringe torch almost to look at. This is, of course, me on the Staten Island ferry looking out at the Statue of Liberty, but I took it at night, so the lighting is just horrific in this picture. The Statue of Liberty is like the Human Torch, you know what I mean? Just completely glowing white. It's bizarre. This is Radio City Hall. I just don't like this picture because I think I must have taken this early in the morning. It's just so shadowy. You got the very sunny sky. Like the exposure is so off. There are ways to fix this. And even back then, like there are ways to play around with the exposure and the lighting. You can make a picture that looks like this look way better, but this is just horrendous. And last but not least, we got the New York City Hall. Now, this is just an example of why sometimes you just need to go right up close to the subject you're taking a picture of. For some reason, I was standing so far back that the bright lit up New York City Hall is framed by this pitch black forest. It almost looks like I'm peeking through the nighttime at a daytime scene. It's so bizarre. This is just such a bad picture. And if I had just moved up a couple feet forward, could have got a great picture of New York City Hall. Instead, I decided to stand in the darkest fucking spot I could have chosen. It's just horribly framed photo. So for the sake of not letting this video go on for too long, we're going to do a very speedy lightning round of terrible pictures, starting with this one here in Providence, Rhode Island. I mean, half of this picture is dark, half of it's light, just terrible lighting. Most of the subject matter is just random cars, and you barely get a view of the Providence skyline, which in general is a beautiful skyline. Just a horrible picture all around. This one is a very embarrassing picture of the National Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts, because most of the picture is a parking lot and the corner of a random building. There are ways to get good pictures of the Basketball Hall of Fame. I don't know what I was thinking with this atrocious angle. This right here is TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts, except you're seeing TD Garden from the view of a trailer pulling in or a car getting ready to park. I don't know what I was thinking when I took this. This is just a really horrible angle, a horrible perspective. I mean, come on, man. This is downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Again, no clue what I was thinking with this because I'm literally just taking a picture of a traffic light in a road. The view isn't very good. Again, there are great spots to get pictures of downtown Manchester. Just no clue what I was thinking with this picture. And also points off for being a vertical photo. Speaking of vertical photos, my God, this is Nashua City Hall in Nashua, New Hampshire. Need I say more? The lighting is just so bad. This thing is, the sun is clearly behind it, so this is just a dark, overcast shadow covering Nashua City Hall. It's just horrible. It's almost like you're looking at it at nighttime, except it's daytime. And last but not least, we actually have a subject matter I hadn't really posted in this, which I thought I would, which is scenic photos. And this is by far the worst scenic photo I've ever taken. This is a random shot of a lake in Westford, Massachusetts, and it just looks like shit. I mean, plain and simple. The trees are dark. The background is light. If there's one thing to take away from this, lighting matters. You can mess around and play around with exposure and stuff to make the lighting actually look good. If you're on a really dark day and the lighting doesn't match, there's a lot of shadows and overcast, you could play around with that in post. This just looks horrible. Terrible photo. Hey, thank you guys for joining me on this pretty fun self-deprecating roast session of a young teenage J Mass's photographs. It's pretty fun to go back and look at all this stuff. This just goes to show that I really do think I've improved a lot over the years because my God, were these pictures horrible. Actually, I have a pretty fun bonus one up on the screen right now. This is actually downtown Leominster, Massachusetts, and you can see again horribly bleak and depressing photo. 1/3 is just road, random cars, horrible framing. You get the gist by now. Yeah, I was really not a great photographer back then, and I'm not a professional by any means now. I still think I have a lot of improvement. I still use an iPhone to take pictures. I don't use any fancy equipment, but again, I am proud of a lot of the pictures I take nowadays, and I think I've improved quite a bit. And it was just fun to go down memory lane and just absolutely roast the shit out of teenage JMass and the horrible pictures I took. I'm glad I got to bring you guys along with me, and if you want to see any of the pictures I'm proud of, feel free to check out my Instagram at JMassOfficial. But I'll catch you guys on the next one. We got more abandoned spots to check out in 2024.
我有我自己的原则，我不想一辈子让人踩在脚下。你以为我是臭要饭的？我这3年就是想等一个机会。